Emperor Elagabalus, who ruled Rome from 218 to 222 AD, is infamous for his unorthodox personal life, marked by multiple marriages and highly controversial relationships that defied Roman societal norms. His choices in partners, both male and female, were deeply intertwined with his religious policies, political strategies, and personal desires. These alliances offer insight into the turbulence of his brief reign and the reasons behind his downfall. Elagabalus's first marriage was to Julia Cornelia Paula, a noblewoman from a distinguished Roman family. Their union was arranged in 219 AD, likely orchestrated by his powerful grandmother, Julia Maesa, who sought to establish legitimacy for the new emperor. Paula was immediately granted the title of Augusta, signifying her elevated status as empress. However, within a year, Elagabalus lost interest in the marriage. Whether for personal reasons or political maneuvering, he divorced Paula in 220 AD. Following their separation, she faded into obscurity, with no further records detailing her later life. Her fate remains unknown, as she was removed from the imperial court and stripped of her titles. Shortly after divorcing Paula, Elagabalus caused a scandal by marrying Julia Aquilia Severa, a Vestal virgin. Vestals were priestesses sworn to celibacy, and their chastity was seen as vital to the spiritual well-being of Rome. By marrying Severa, Elagabalus violated one of the most sacred traditions in Roman religion, justifying his actions by claiming that their union would produce godlike children, blessed by his deity, Elgabal. The marriage provoked outrage. The emperor was pressured into annulling it and marrying someone more politically acceptable. However, in a bizarre twist, Elagabalus later reinstated his marriage to Severa, openly disregarding the uproar it had caused. Severa's ultimate fate remains unclear, but she likely survived Elagabalus's assassination in 222 AD. After his fall, she would have been stripped of her imperial titles and forced into seclusion, as was common for former empresses under the new regime. Between his two marriages to Severa, Elagabalus took Annia Aurelia Faustina as his wife in 221 AD. Faustina was of noble descent, tracing her lineage back to Emperor Marcus Aurelius. This marriage was likely a political move, meant to connect Elagabalus with the respected Nerva Antonine dynasty and gain favor with Rome's elite. However, like his previous marriage, this one was short-lived. Within months, Elagabalus lost interest and the marriage was dissolved. Faustina disappears from the historical record after their separation, with no information about her life after leaving the imperial court. Elagabalus's romantic life was not limited to women. One of his most infamous relationships was with Hierocles, a charioteer from Caria. According to ancient sources, Elagabalus openly referred to Hierocles as his husband, a highly controversial act in Roman society. Elagabalus granted Hierocles significant influence at court, showering him with wealth and titles. Ancient historians describe Hierocles as a domineering figure who exerted control over the emperor. Their relationship scandalized the Roman elite, as public same-sex relationships, especially involving the emperor, were seen as disgraceful. Following Elagabalus's assassination, Hierocles was executed as part of the purge against the emperor's close associates. Another notable figure in Elagabalus's personal life was Aurelius Zoticus, an athlete from Smyrna known for his striking appearance. Elagabalus was so captivated by Zoticus that he invited him to Rome, bestowing upon him wealth and titles. However, Zoticus's time in the emperor's court was short. Some sources suggest that court rivals, possibly Hierocles, plotted against him, leading to his downfall. He was accused of failing to perform during an intimate encounter with the emperor, leading to his swift disgrace and expulsion from Rome. Elagabalus's personal life was filled with stories of excess and disregard for Roman traditions. Ancient historians claim he engaged in numerous affairs, dressed as a woman, and even worked in brothels to fulfill his fantasies. He allegedly sought out doctors who could surgically alter his body to resemble a woman's. These accounts, however, come from sources hostile to Elagabalus, such as Cassius Dio and the Historia Augusta. Given their biases, some details may be exaggerated or fabricated to depict him as a depraved ruler. Nevertheless, they reflect how his behavior was perceived as unacceptable in Roman society. The accounts of Elagabalus's marriages and relationships highlight his defiance of traditional Roman norms. While emperors had taken lovers before, None had done so as openly or controversially. His actions alienated the Senate, military, and Roman elite, contributing to his downfall. By 222 AD, discontent with his rule reached its peak. A conspiracy led by his grandmother, Julia Maesa, and the Praetorian Guard resulted in his assassination. He was brutally killed alongside his mother, Julia Somias, and their bodies were thrown into the Tiber River. His cousin, Severus Alexander, was declared emperor, ushering in a more conventional and stable reign. Elagabalus's legacy remains that of one of Rome's most scandalous emperors. Whether his relationships were genuine expressions of his identity or deliberate acts of defiance, they contributed to his reputation as a ruler who rejected the values of his time. His story remains a fascinating chapter in Roman history, illustrating the limits of imperial power and societal acceptance.